All right, welcome back to the second episode of the Cardinal Country Podcast. Thank you for tuning in. If you missed the first episode, no worries. That one was just kind of an introduction, but a quick recap of it. This podcast will feature all things Michigan Center. We are looking to highlight cool things going on in all our schools. Arnold, Kiker, I end up here at the junior, senior high, and other things that would just be relevant to the community. If you have any suggestions of things that you'd like me to highlight or potential people to interview, by all means, help me out with this and send me an email to my school account. My name is Jared Taluki, and my staff email is jared.tylutki@mccardinals.org. So questions, concerns, comments can all be directed there, and potential ideas for future podcasts. Today we're interviewing two of my absolute favorite guys that I've ever had in class in my 13 years of teaching at Michigan Center, Boomer Perry and Josh Rankin. I had both of these guys a few years ago in my freshman U.S. history class, and they are seniors now. So we're just going to highlight some of the cool things that they've got going on and chat with these guys for a few minutes. So quick history of them. Boomer is heavily involved in our leadership class. He's been in for a couple years now. He's currently the president of our National Honor Society, and he is a three-sport athlete, playing football, basketball, and baseball. Just coming off of a great football season. He's one of the team captains there, and not sure if he's a captain in basketball or baseball, as those seasons haven't got rolling yet, but he's definitely a team leader. So we'll get to talk about some things going on academically with him and athletically. Josh Rankin is one of my personal favorites. I've got to know him really well since I've been a wrestling coach here the last few years. He is also in leadership class, has been very active in that with the Bigs and Littles program, the swimming that they do. He is currently the vice president of the National Honor Society, and he at one time had played a few different sports, but over the last few years he is focused like a laser on wrestling, and is probably would be in the conversation to be going down as like one of the all-time, if not the all-time best wrestler to come out of Michigan Center. He has 3 conference titles and will be working on his 4th one in this upcoming season. Is an all-state athlete in wrestling. He placed 3rd at the MHSAA finals last year, and has been doing a lot of training in the off-season to get ready to have one heck of a senior year. Here, welcoming Boomer Perry and Josh Rankin. Guys, what's going on? How you doing?
Great. Great to be here, Jared.
Are we on a first-name basis now?
I thought so.
All right, that's good. For the podcast, I definitely approve. So you guys are both seniors this year. Have accomplished quite a bit in your high school careers, man. It's awesome to get you two in here. A lot of times I lose contact with the seniors as I teach primarily freshmen, but you two I have stayed pretty good in touch with, I think. Why don't we start off with some of the athletics, then we'll move on to some of the academic things that you guys are involved in, and we'll finish up with just like future plans and where you see yourself going after you wrap things up here at Michigan Center. So, Boomer, so pretty good football season this year. Anything you could share with us about that?
Let me start with thanking you for inviting me on the show, Jared.
Very welcome, man. I
appreciate
love
it.
having you here.
I've been thinking of this for a while now.
Awesome.
All right. Football season has gone great so far. We're 8-1. I believe we had 6 all-conference guys, being me, Brock Kuhn, Julian Putnam, Andy Pulaski, Jake Haskell, and Roger Hayward. It's playoffs now, which we'll have a game tonight against Grass Lake. And all around, it's probably one of the best years we've had. Last year, 1-2.
I'll pause you there for a quick second and say, when most people listen to this podcast, the playoff game will probably have already, taken place, and hopefully we're moving on into round 2. Good luck, because we're recording this on Friday early morning, so he'll have the playoff game tonight, right, at 7 o'clock?
Yes.
And it's at Grass Lake?
Yes, it is.
Correct? All right, so best wishes to that. Regular season, it sounds like it was tremendous. 6 all-conference athletes. Man, that's pretty impressive. And then what was your regular season record?
It was 8-1.
8-1, not bad, man. You guys have really come a long way, and that's kudos to not only the coaching staff, but also like the leadership that we've had and kind of developed in the program, and to everybody out there listening. I think the community support has been a big thing over the last decade with football too. I remember 13 years ago when I started up, I was one of the junior high football coaches, And man, the program was it kind of struggled back then. I think my first year the varsity was like, and I wasn't coaching with the varsity, but they were like 3-6. So we were typically just fighting to be in the middle of the conference. And it's so awesome to see the program develop up to, a program that just year in and year out is fighting for conference titles. So.
Oh, yeah. Before my sophomore year, I think we were in the playoffs 6 times.
Man.
And now we're at 3 years in a row with a playoff win last year and hopefully at least one this year.
That's awesome because that was not always the case. If people from the community that know Michigan Center football, I mean, Center had good years and stuff in decades past, but it's really kind of developed into a kind of a Cascades Conference powerhouse here in the Jackson County. I remember, when I started working here, it was like making the playoffs were, man, that was kind of one of those things that we were trying to hit, but you know what I mean? Most years we were not getting that 6-win mark, and now, man, it just seems like things are clicking, and you guys are hitting that every year. So hopefully you guys make a good run into the playoffs this season. Any other thoughts? Like, what was your favorite thing about football this year?
Favorite thing is probably just the coaching staff is incredible.
Yeah.
Like, I'm probably friends with every single one of those coaches. I don't usually on the staff you have one or two coaches you don't really like or you just don't enjoy.
Sure.
I love every single one of them. It's awesome. Practices are fun. Games are fun.
That is a good situation, man. It's good to have coaches that you click with and can bond with. And I know most of the coaches on our staff, and I can attest to that too. That it is a good group of guys. So I don't think at the high school level you'll find a better coaching staff. At least not in our area, man. They're top notch. So and tribute to you guys too. That you guys have been outstanding leaders too, and I think you're right in that core group. Who are the other captains this season?
The captains were me, Jake Haskell, Brock Kuhn, and Dawson Brown.
Good crew of guys. Liked every one of them. So, good luck in the playoff game tonight. Like I said, probably when most people are tuning into this, the playoff game will have already transpired, and hopefully we're moving on to round 2, and look like we'd most likely get Lumen Christie there, and maybe we'll be putting a whooping on them next. So, all right. Okay, I'm going to transition over to Josh now. Just doing kind of a preview for the upcoming wrestling season. I had already kind of went through Josh's previous career highlights. Could you fill us in on how the program's done the last few seasons and how the program's going to be, how the team will be looking this year and what your individual prospects are?
We weren't very good my freshman year, but we're coming up now. We won a regional title, I want to say, sophomore year.
District title, right?
Or district title.
Yeah, made it 2 regionals.
Yep. And then we probably have a run at getting a conference title this year, so that hasn't been done in who knows how long. I mean,
oh man, I think checking the records, I think it was back in the 80s or so. It was the last time there's a Michigan Center team got a conference title.
So, I mean, that's an impressive feat right there.
For those that don't know, I'd been the head coach the last 3 seasons, but have coached in the program for 13 years now. And then this season, I've transitioned back to an assistant coaching role, and Mark Ward is taking over the program and going to be the new head coach. What are your thoughts on Coach Ward?
He's a cool guy. I mean, I've only known him about a year now, so I don't know him the best, but he's a cool guy. He's very motivational. He'll push you through the wall for sure, and I'm excited for this last season under him. So it'll be fun.
He is a fun guy. I coached him way back when I was starting out at Center. I had him as a junior high athlete, and I've got to know him really well over the years. So it was awesome to see him come back in as a program alum to come back in and take it over. I'm pretty pumped up that for his first year taking over. I think he's going to do good things, and he's one of our football coaches too. I think, is he the JV coach, Boomer?
Yes, he's the JV defensive coordinator.
Awesome, yeah. He's a great motivator, so hopefully he does work some wonders with the wrestling program. And like Josh was saying, I think we have a fighting shot at a conference title this year. We have a pretty solid lineup, so expect some big things there, and hopefully we'll check in on the podcast and do some updates for the wrestling team later on in the year. How about individually, Josh? What have you been doing in the off season, and how are you looking for the hunt for a state title?
I've I've been wrestling a lot throughout the summer. Not as much as I'd like to. I just got really busy for a while. I've been lifting a lot lately, though. Trying to add some muscle and do some fine-tuning before the season comes up here in about a month.
Right on. You had wrestled recently at the Grappler Fall Classic, and that, for those that don't know, that's one of the toughest tournaments, like literally in the nation. How'd that go for you?
Underwhelming.
Underwhelming?
Yeah. Thought I was more prepared than I actually was. Lost to a couple guys who probably shouldn't have lost to, but it's all right.
The caliber of
3-2.
competition at that, too, is basically everybody in the tournament is, for the most part, an all-state athlete. You have multiple state champs in every bracket. There are guys coming up from Florida and Texas and California, and so all over the country coming in. But you had a pretty good showing, though, at it, didn't you? You were
3-2.
3-2. Yeah, that's impressive in a bracket like that with 30-plus, guys that are really in the hunt to be college athletes. So, good deal. But, yeah, sometimes having a check like that can be a good motivator and maybe get you more prepared for high-level wrestling, at the end of the season, the districts, regionals, and state meet.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right. Let's transition back over to Boomer now. Boomer also plays basketball. Now, the last few seasons, the basketball team has looked pretty solid. What do we have to look forward to this season?
Hopefully, a conference championship and a district championship. I'm assuming will be our goals.
Yeah, for sure.
But man, the basketball program has just been killing it lately, which is weird because I don't know. I feel like basketball is a tough sport. You got Hanover in our conference, which is always a great team, but we've won, I think, 2 out of the 3 last year, like conference championships.
Basketball has a very similar story. Now, I'm definitely not a basketball guy. I don't really know much about the sport because I was a high school wrestler. So, but I had a lot of good friends always, and consider Boomer a pretty good friend now. I always have been supportive of the basketball team from back when I was in high school to today. And I think that has a similar story to the football program where, 13 years ago when I started working here, they were kind of middle of the conference team, and now it seems like you guys have transitioned up to always being fighting for that conference title. So hopefully things work out good. What was recap of last season? Did you guys win the conference title last year? Or
We did
no?
not.
No.
I think we tied for second.
Tied for second.
Yep.
Still a good showing. How did the postseason go last year?
Went good. We lost in the district championship to Hillsdale, I believe.
Okay.
It was a close game.
Right on. Well,
basketball's weird because I think we're in Class B for basketball, whereas we're like Class C for all of the sports.
yeah, but MHS does run that kind of funny. Whereas, like in wrestling, we're a Division III school, and I think we're the only team in the conference that's Division III. The rest are Division IV. And basketball is one of the only sports left that doesn't run the divisions, like wrestling and football and cheer and track. They're all on the division system, but basketball is still like on the class system where it's Class A, B, C, or D rather than the division. So I'm not really sure why that is. I don't know. That'd be.
I don't either.
But yeah, but being up in Class B, that would be more like kind of wrestling if we were up in Division II, I guess. Up in that second tier. So I do believe we're like, from what I know of it, we're one of the smallest schools in Class B, I think, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So we're generally competing with schools that are quite a bit bigger. The same is really kind of true in a weird way for wrestling in Division III. We are like kind of firmly, our enrollment has been good here at Center, and we're up in Division III, but we are one of the smaller schools in Division III. So most of the other teams we're competing with have significantly larger enrollment, but you just got to make the best of it, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, good luck to you guys this season, and I know you're still on football mode right now, but when do you know when your practices start up or tryouts?
Well, usually girls basketball starts a week before us, but they changed it this year. So our tryouts are going to be November 5th, I believe, which is like 2 Mondays.
Right on.
From now.
Yeah, coming up soon. How about wrestling? When does that start up?
I think the first day of practice is November 12th.
Oh.
So.
All right. So winter sports are about ready to kick off. If anybody, any students are out there listening to it, you can get information in the office. There is a new system this year where now you won't turn your physicals into your coaches. You'll turn those into the main office or the athletic trainer, and you just get a little gold card, and you have to submit that into your coach after you've gotten all your paperwork done, and that's all you'll turn into your coach this year. So kind of a change up that'll hopefully make things easier on all the head coaches. All right, let's move on to some of the academics and what's going just kind of on the home front here at Michigan Center High School. You guys are both very active in leadership class. I know for people listening, if you're a community member, I would guess that like one of the things that you would probably most associate with Michigan Center is our leadership program that Mr. Damaris, he was a English teacher up here, had really got that rolling a few years ago, and man, we had a lot of good press. He's done a lot of awesome community outreach things over the past few years, and unfortunately, well, I shouldn't say unfortunately, fortunately for him and for us, he was able to transfer to an administrative job, but by taking the principal job at Arnold School, he's no longer able to be up here in the high school on a daily basis and run the leadership program, so that's been taken over. Who's the teacher running it this year?
It was Mrs. Finch this year.
Mrs. Finch, awesome. So just kind of sum up, and you can take this in any direction you guys want. This question's to both of you. Just how are things going with the leadership class? How is it having a new leader of the leadership class? And anything cool you guys want to highlight coming up?
Well, first off, Mr. Damaris was awesome and is awesome still, obviously. But because he really started the leadership class, and I don't know if he started student council as much as he ran it for a while. Mm-hmm. So he put 2 huge programs in our school that, I mean, it's tough transferring out of them, but sure. I think Mrs. Finch is doing a great job so far, and I think Josh can elaborate on what all we do in leadership class.
Yeah, it's been a fun transition, but we do a lot of volunteer for our community, especially with the food pantry, Big Brothers Big Sisters, and stuff along those lines. We also attend the Torrent Center quite often to bowl and swim.
Is there a bowling alley right in the Torrent Center, or do you travel to it? Okay.
Yeah.
They have a pool there?
Yes.
All right.
Very warm.
Warm pool.
Very
That's right.
warm.
Nobody likes cold pools.
Yeah. It's like a really big hot tub.
Awesome.
And more chlorine than water.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
It makes your skin really dry.
So you go swim with some of the students that have disabilities that attend the Torrent Center. Do you guys both swim, or is that just a few kids in the leadership class that do the swimming?
We rotate.
Rotate it?
Yeah, we go every Friday. We have a different job, so we'll leave the school on a Friday, and some kids will go swim. Others will fill up bags from the food pantry for the kids at the schools. Some kids will bowl. Miss Brown's class. Some kids will go down to Miss Brown's class here in the school. So.
All right. That's awesome. Yeah, I think the leadership class has done a lot of awesome stuff in the last few years. Can't emphasize that enough. What a cool class, and it really is kind of it's you guys are the bridge to the community, I think. And I say that maybe sounds a little sappy, but it's totally true that I think there's a tendency for a lot of people that live in the community where their kids are out of school, might be older, retired, that they really don't know what's happening in any of the schools, but having a class like leadership helps to kind of fill that bridge that in a little bit, where we are getting kids out there and seeing the people in the community, and it also has done a really good job getting some real positive press for Michigan Center, I think, too. There's been some MLive articles over the past few years, and a lot of what you guys do is really highlighted. So thanks for your service there. That's a really cool thing, and keep it up. It sounds like it's a pretty enjoyable class, too. Am I right on that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you get to travel a fair amount. And
yeah, we ran a car wash.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Car wash. How did that go?
You weren't there. You didn't go.
I knew that was coming. I did. I promised to come, and I had no excuse. I lived about 300 yards away from where they were doing it, but I don't know. I forget what I had going on that day, but I think I had a date with my couch. I'm sorry. No excuses. I should have been there.
No, it was fun. We raised a lot of money. I don't know exactly.
Do you know? You don't know the dollar amount? What you got out of that?
Around 800.
I was gonna say about 800.
That's a good showing for a one-day car wash, man.
Yeah, I mean, I think
Awesome.
it was 3 hours.
Yeah, that special wash got it done.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Good stuff,
Shorts,
guys.
No shirts.
Are you guys still doing and you're doing Big Brothers Big Sisters?
Yes.
Right? Now, that's still going on with your littles. Now, do you work exclusively with Michigan Center kids there, or do you work with kids from other districts too?
Yeah, it's a 3rd grade class from Kiker, which is Mrs. Haynes' class.
Okay.
So we all pair up with one kid from that class and do different things, activities. And it's huge for the kids. Like I had Mr. Withers' kid last year, as my little, and he brings up like every day how much it meant to him.
Yeah.
And obviously the Withers are great family. You
Sure.
know, like he has a good support system.
Yep.
But still,
For those of you that don't know, Mr. Withers is a science teacher up here at the high school and has 4 kids that all attend Michigan Center schools. So.
But still, even with that great support system he has, it was huge having another person he could talk to, he could be friends with, he could let him know about his problems. You know.
Yeah. Well, I have 2 young sons too. I have one in 4th grade and one in 2nd grade here at Michigan Center, and I think, man, I would love for one of my kids to get mentored by either one of you guys, or really anybody else in that class. It is a awesome slate of kids on the roster for that leadership class. So, yeah, I know that would mean the world to those little guys, and you know they look up to you guys. Like today's Boomer's wearing his jersey because it's a football game, but I mean. And their little minds, man, it's like you are a NFL player or something. Yeah, you might as well be. They look up to you so much. So, yeah, having that athletic street cred is a really cool thing. It's very impressive to the little guys. So, awesome for that. Keep doing what you do. That's really cool. Hopefully, next year going to be kind of based out of the 3rd grade again?
I'm not for sure.
Or don't know.
So. It switched up. Used to not switch because Mrs. DuBois used to do it.
Yeah.
But after the last few years, we've switched up a lot.
Switched up?
Yeah.
All right. Well, my youngest son's coming into 3rd grade next year, so I'll hope that it sticks there for one more year and maybe he gets to experience all that. All right. On to the next topic, National Honor Society, kind of a big deal up here at the high school where we, value and reward and recognize a lot of our top students that put in a ton of work and, are striving to achieve academically and probably be on that college-bound track. You two are Boomer's the president and Josh is the vice president at NHS. Anything you could tell us there about what's happening in NHS currently or what you got coming up?
Well, first off, I think NHS is great because it honors those students who don't really get recognition as much.
Mm-hmm.
The smart kids who do a lot in the community but might not play a couple sports.
Sure.
And just that banquet where they all applaud them or just it's huge for them,
Yeah, we haven't done. I don't want to say we haven't done much.
Mm-hmm.
We do a lot, but
well, you guys have a pretty busy schedule.
Me and Boomer personally feel like we haven't done as much as I thought the role would be. Like coming in, I was like really worried. I was like, oh, I'm gonna be so busy with this,
and it all worked out.
Yeah, it wasn't.
I think busy is just a way of life for you two. You guys always seem to keep a lot on your plate.
Once again, underwhelming.
Yeah, all right. Well, not to toot my own horn, toot my own
Careful what you're
horn here. I know,
doing,
I'm getting a little tongue-tied.
Come on now.
Too much coffee. But I was a former NHS vice president too, and I'm sure you did more than what I did. Because I don't even think, you guys just had the induction ceremony, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, at ours, I don't even think I gave a speech or anything. I think I just sat there and kind of tried to look pretty. How was the induction ceremony?
Not to toot my own horn, or whatever you said, but it
you're
was
brutal.
really good.
It was pretty nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
I was pretty nervous at first, but then Mrs. Kramer said, oh, you can shorten it or adjust it as much as you want.
Yeah.
So I cut out a paragraph and I was good to go.
Whole paragraph, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, public speaking can be a terrorizing thing when you're not used to it. I remember when I was going through my college speech class and then my first year as a teacher, it was pretty nerve-wracking. Even just talking to students I struggled with. And now the more you do it, the more you kind of smooth it all out. And I think these two were both showing me their parts that they had the speeches that they were giving essentially at the induction ceremony. It was quite a bit. It was a lengthy reading and talking you had to do. So, but you guys, I think you both pulled it off really good.
Thank you. I had one paragraph.
One
That's all I
paragraph?
had. Yeah, he had a ton.
I had a lot.
But
Yeah, that's
I had
right.
one
Boomer had
paragraph.
like a page, didn't you?
I was told I got to shorten it, so I found the longest sentence possible.
Was
And
that your criteria?
It was genuinely the best sentence of the paragraph. Too.
Yeah.
I read it and I was
man.
like, man, that's empowering. And then I was like, too bad I'm not going to read it because that's gone.
Yeah.
My pit stains at the end of that speech were pretty impressive.
Yeah, that was
Good
slow
stuff.
motion.
Yeah.
First time I ever wore a tie.
Was it the first time ever?
Yep.
How about that?
Yeah,
Wow. Well, I don't know, man. I could see you wearing a lot of ties in the future. Yeah, you seem like you could be a Thai kind of guy if you wanted to get into the business world and all that. So, all right. Anything else? Like, what do you have any big activities coming up with NHS this year? I know, like in the past, you've done. Is it the blood drive?
Blood drive soon.
That's coming up. Do you know when that is?
I couldn't tell you the date.
Couldn't say the date.
I know we have two during the
Two coming up.
One coming up soon, and then there's another one in the spring, I want to say.
Yeah, one will probably be before winter break for sure.
Sure. Well, we'll come back on one of the next episodes. We'll try to lock down a date for that, and I will make an announcement of it. And if you're somebody out there in the community, that is something that you could do to get involved a little bit in a pretty easy way, where it would only take you, I think usually what's donation time, an hour or less? About an hour. You get a free cookie and some juice, and come on in and do something good, save a life, and it helps out our NHS because that's one of the big things that they do, one of their big events throughout the year. So, good deal.
I think we set like a record last year or something.
Yeah,
we set a
I feel
lot
like
of
they say that
records
every year.
last year's.
Yeah.
I think we had over 2,000 hours last year.
That's
that's
awesome.
true.
Of volunteer
We
work,
did.
which was crazy.
I always go for the record of quickest donation when I go down there. I squeeze that little ball. One year I was at like 5 minutes.
I've tried to donate, and I looked on like the paper. There's like 3 reasons I couldn't donate because I had like this rash on me.
Oh,
and
no.
I was getting my wisdom teeth out the day after, which probably isn't a good idea. But yeah, I haven't had the pleasure of saving a baby yet.
Well, all right,
Couple
this year
days.
though, are you going for it?
Yeah.
Do you have to be? Is it 16?
I think it's 16 with parents' permission, and then 18 you can do whatever.
18, you're an adult.
It might be 17. I don't know.
Right.
I
on.
think it's 17, do what you want.
That's weird. It's 17.
Yeah, because you're technically not an adult, so
Huh.
I feel like that shouldn't be allowed. But
There are a lot of.
it is.
Yeah. Sometimes those laws get weird where you get different things, different privileges at different times. So yeah.
I feel
All
like
right.
that.
Well, I had to.
I'm in a sticky situation.
I didn't tell you about this. I had to take. We have jet skis.
Yep.
I had to go get them winterized, so
Sure.
I dropped them off at the marina, and it was for my dad. They made me sign something.
All right.
I'm 17. I'm not liable.
Uh-huh.
That signature isn't upholding the court if
Right.
you ruin
Not
this.
a legal
so
adult.
I feel like
yeah.
that's like the same thing.
Yeah.
Are you really allowed to donate without parent permission?
I
Shouldn't be allowed.
I am not the guy to ask for that. I don't know. I say okay, but I'm not sure. I would imagine if you did show up, like they probably have that all ironed out at the front table on the day of the donation, so they would have that information for you. But yeah, all right. Well, did you donate last year, Josh?
Yes.
You did?
Right before wrestling season.
You're
Yeah.
cutting weight, huh?
Yeah,
No?
that was a
Oh well, that is not a good way to cut weight, but
that was a long practice.
yeah. And I believe they say you're really not supposed to. You're supposed to give it about 24 hours and get a lot of fluids in you. But I know in past years, it doesn't seem to affect me too bad. It does make me a little bit more tired and lethargic, but a lot of times I still will go out and have some physical activity afterwards, after an hour or two, and get some food and drink in me. So
We had a tough practice that day.
did we?
First time I've thrown up in practice.
Oh man,
Yeah.
gross.
Yeah.
I think I remember the day you're talking about.
Yeah.
No,
We were down in the weight room, and I had to go outside.
That first week or two of wrestling can definitely be a shock to the system. Just kind of like any that have played football. I always remember that, like the first 2-a-day practices in summer. Man, they can be brutal when it's hot out. And wrestling, even though it's indoor, man, we do tax those guys in practice and start getting their cardio up real quick. So yeah.
Especially when you're missing half your blood.
Yeah, that's probably not good. Maybe you should be sitting out in the corner drinking juice this year after it. All right, guys. Well, we're going on about 30 minutes here now. Do you guys have any final thoughts? Like, what are your plans for the future? Graduation, man, it might seem a little ways off, but it's going to be here before you know it.
Right now, I am probably the definition of undecided. 'Cause
Undecided?
I have no idea. This has been a very busy month, though, applying to colleges, a lot
Sure.
of stuff, and I'm glad it's almost over. But
Yeah.
probably the main scheme I want to do is go into some type of engineering. Not sure what school. Still contemplating if I want to play football in college or not.
Right on. I could definitely see it. I think both of you two will be successful, and no matter which path you choose, you're on the right track in life. And I would say don't be scared of being undecided. This is a time in life where you should be kind of weighing your options and looking around, and don't commit to anything that you're not sure of. You know what I mean? Don't be afraid to put stuff off for a little while and just do some work or whatever, or go to college or join the Navy or wherever life takes you. Right? How about you, Josh?
I've tried to do exactly what you said. I've just put it off.
Yeah.
I haven't applied to any colleges.
Yeah.
Not one. I need to, like, by the end of this month.
Sure.
So, I mean, I got, like, a few days.
Well,
it'll be okay.
Right on. I think you'll work it out. Is there a deadline for college admissions?
For big colleges, normally you want to apply right about now.
Yeah.
So you can get accepted because they only accept so many people.
Right.
But like with a smaller school like JC, you can apply whenever you want, really. I mean,
Also,
sure.
for universities, it's huge to apply before November because that's when they give out all their scholarships.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see if you apply for like a merit scholarship or not.
Gotcha.
That's when it starts all that.
And that's the thing, man. Try to get those scholarships if you are going on the college path, because boy, it gets expensive. And I think we maybe do a disservice sometimes trying to push everybody to go and doing that college path when kids are undecided. Where, you know what I mean? That's debt that a lot of kids don't know this, but that's debt that you can't declare bankruptcy on. So I mean, it really follows you till you pay it off, or it follows you your whole life until you get rid of it. And you know what I mean? I definitely encourage college, and I think that's a good thing for a lot of our kids here, but not maybe for everybody. And there are a lot of paths to success, so you gotta do what's right for you. Right?
Yeah, I feel like Josh's main path right now is not going to college.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Unless I wrestle, if I were to like get an offer late, like after wrestling season, I would definitely probably take it. But as of now, I'm looking at going pretty much straight into one of the trades, doing line work.
You know what? I think that has gotten shortchanged in a big way over the last couple decades, where there's been so much emphasis on the path to success is going to college, which absolutely going and getting a college degree is one path to success, but there's many paths to a successful life and being content and having a good lifestyle. And the trades, man, that is something that I think we should emphasize even more here at Center, because we have a lot of kids here that would be a great path for them. How does that work? Have you looked into it yet? Like what any trade specifically? Were you looking at like basically being a lineman for an energy company? Yeah.
Yep.
Good gig. How long does that take you to like the schooling for that?
I mean, they send you to a boot camp. It's called LBAT. So you have to apply for that if you apply like through the union. So I mean that's like a month, I think.
Sure.
And then after that you have an apprenticeship where you're working, and then you just need so many hours until you become officially a journeyman or whatever.
Right on. So that is so streamlined. I went to Central Michigan and was like up there for 5 years essentially. I wasn't in a big rush to get out. But man, like you, it sounds like you could get through one of those trade schools really quickly, and I'm sure it's easier on your pocketbook going through and doing that.
Very.
Yeah, you're probably not gonna be saddled with tons of debt and loans.
No, and I've been blessed with a pretty good family and support system behind me. So I mean, we've already discussed stay at home as long as you can, until you have that money saved up where you might not even have to have a house payment.
Yes. Oh man,
pay for a house in cash if you want.
Absolutely. If you have a good relationship with your parents or home life, I think staying home and saving a little extra money. I mean, at your age, there's that tendency where you want to get out and you want to spread your wings and fly and do your own thing, but man, that gets really expensive once you have your own place. So staying at home's not a bad option at all for as long as you can to bank up some money, man.
And I mean, really, going into a trade, it's like you don't need a college degree by any means for most of them. But I mean, some of them, if you do go and get that college degree later, I'll probably go get a business degree in some form of business management.
Sure.
That'll be huge. I mean, how many other guys on the job have a degree?
Well, then you've already got your foot in the door too, and you're making money. It's not like you're just living on loans. And I see what you're saying, to kind of climb the ladder of the company you'd be working for, if it was like a Consumers Energy or Detroit Edison or whatever whatever one it might be. Yeah, I think that's a really good plan, buddy. So, all right. Well, we're going on a little over a half hour here, and I have to hit the road because I got to go administer a U.S. History Quarter 1 exam. So you guys, thanks for coming in. It was awesome chatting with you. Love you both, and best wishes for the rest of your senior year and life. And I'm sure we'll stay in touch and maybe get you on the podcast again sometime.
Thank you,
This
Jared.
has been great, Jared.
I
Awesome.
would love to be on a podcast again.
Thanks so
Not to
much.
toot my own horn, but I think we did good.
You did outstanding. All right, we're going to be checking out here. We'll probably have another episode up in the next week or two. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll leave you with a little bit more